Hey there, YouTube. It's Petey Two Finger, and I'm doing well. I haven't been uploading. I've been super busy, and in between there, I've been playing a video game called Factorio, which is a factory simulator that's really addictive. So I got this really cool Clean Canteen brand insulated cup, and it came with a stainless steel straw. I got this at Goodwill. It was marked $2.99, but it was the half price. Nobody bought this for a month. Can you believe that? It's a really nice. It's like double insulated, so the drink stays really cold, and it doesn't vacuum insulated. Yeah, 16 ounce. So this is a really nice cup, and that's my thing now. And if I use a regular glass, it'll be the condensation every time you grab it. It's leaking all over, ice cold water. And I usually don't wear a shirt, so it's like right ice cold on your belly. It's not very pleasant. So I had a significant life change earlier this year. I stopped drinking. I was drinking wine cut with water. I'd have like a big jug of wine in the fridge with a tap. So I could just go in there and on tap get the cold wine, and then I would cut it with water. So we have two vessels. And I was running apple juice. I put my lemonade. I make this oleocitrate lemonade, which you peel a lemon and put citric acid powder on it. And then after about an hour of letting that acid work on the peel, you can blend it and strain it. And then all of the good lemon flavor that's in the peel goes into the lemonade. So you can make a real lot of lemonade with just one lemon. Anyway, my wine jug is converted in this lemonade jug. And the other day I thought, man, an Arnold Palmer is a mixture of iced tea and lemonade. I should try that. I've got this unbelievably good lemonade. Why not make some really good tea? I've got a bunch of tea here. It's not my wife's thing. I'm more into that. So I brewed up some tea, and I'm on the Arnold Palmers now, and I'm enjoying it. It's very tasty. And I'm still doing the dehydrated fruit. I think the cutting the tea adding the tea into the setup here, because I have a little during the day too. I have my lunch, so I have one with that. And oftentimes I'll have one in the morning too. So I end up having to make this lemonade more often than not. And I figure if I really love the mixture of the tea and the lemonade, add that as an option, then it won't be as often that I'm finding myself or asking my wife to help me out with it. She's been doing really good at helping me out with that. With my herniated disc, there's certain things that are really difficult for me to do. Any repetitive hand task where you're standing sucks. So I've been playing Factorio. I haven't been drinking. I had a good one the other day. I'll tell you guys what I did. I got up at like 7:30 in the morning. My wife was sleeping. She's out here on the couch sleeping. And that's with the cat. He'll cry and so they're out here. I turned the faucet on, turned the hot water on in the kitchen, and I left it running because it was cold. It takes a while to get warm hot water the first thing in the morning. So I get distracted. I left and I did something else. I got distracted. And then my wife comes running in. You left the water on and it overflowed the whole kitchen. So there was like 18 inches where it had come, the water had come into the living room on the carpet. I threw the breaker, and my wife puts up with a lot. A mind-numbing amount of bullshit.
Nobody else would put up with this amount of bullshit.
Nobody else would put up what she puts up with from me. And what they say, behind every guy who's accomplished anything, there stands a good woman. That is so true with me. Because how much she really does help out. And like I can't even solder. Like she's in there holding stuff, and it's considerable. So her pet peeve is me getting the counters wet. Any kind of water party that I have where there's water, she's not cool with that. And I flooded the entire kitchen and got the carpet wet, including, we got some nasty throw rugs that are old. I've been thinking about replacing those, so I helped her clean the stuff up, drove her up to work, and then took the car and ran some errands. Well, I did really good that day at Goodwill. I got a Ninja blender for $20. And I came home. I had 2 big jugs of apple juice to fill up the dispenser in the kitchen, in the fridge. So I get that thing out. I pour 4 quarts. Put the thing in the fridge. Close the door. Well, I didn't push the thing back enough, and when I closed the door, it opened the tap up, and all of that apple juice drained. It filled up the vegetable tray, and then started leaking out the bottom of the fridge. And when I turned around, I'm doing dishes. So I turn around and hear the other half of the kitchen that I did not flood in the morning, I had now flooded in the afternoon, but with apple juice. 2 floods in one day. So I did not win Husband of the Year award. I did spend a bunch of money at the resale stores and get some nice things, but it didn't make up for it. And speaking of resale store, I had bought this drill, Performax, and I had did a video. It was like 3 hours worth of video where I worked on this. They sold it to me for $10 because the battery was completely shot. And I took it apart and replaced, there was 3 batteries in it, and I tested it, and one of the batteries was bad. Well, I charged it up and I used it, and then it was dead right away. And I went and recharged it, and it didn't really take a charge. So those other 2, I should have replaced all 3 of the batteries, which that's what I did. Tonight I tore it apart, and it's got, in between the batteries, it uses 18650 batteries, which are these. So they'll be like a little piece of metal that goes in, but to make it, instead of a wire, they have like flat, thin metal. And you can grab that with a needle nose and peel it, it'll come off. Like, as you can actually see, there's a piece of that is still on this one here. Now, this metal, it'll ride between 2 batteries, and then it'll come up like a lip, and that will go through the circuit board and solder on in a slotted hole. And that's how these batteries, I needed to remove them. And I was trying to, what I did, I peeled the the sheet metal, the little sheet metal strips off of the battery, and I would solder them, straighten them back out with the pliers, and then solder a fresh battery, solder it onto a fresh battery. Well, it was really difficult for me to get the angles of everything lined up properly because there's 3 batteries, and between the batteries themselves connecting to each other and then coming up at the right angle to go through the hole in the PCB, it was really hard. Really hard. And what I ended up doing was using desoldering braid, which is braided copper, actually. It's real fine braided copper wire. And that stuff, I used it to go in between the batteries, and on the PCB, circuit boards up here, there's a slot. I would have a piece coming down, I would fold it over and then solder it on there, and then I would bend that tab over and fold it over again so it went like this, fold it over. And I didn't even need to solder them, they just make contact. So that's what I did. This thing is charging now, and as you can see, it's got 2 of the LEDs on. So this little drill, I do a lot of my intention with that little drill is to keep a pre-drill bit in it. It's 12 volts, so I'm not going to be, I've got a Ryobi 18 volt drill, and I've got several corded plug-in drills. I've got a bunch of like vintage, old drills, and then I've got some newer. I've got a Ryobi corded drill. So it's no shortage of drills here, but a good 12 volt, like medium sized corded drill is something that I really do not have here. And I intend to keep a pre-drill bit, like an 1/8 inch bit or so in that, and then like I use step drill bits often, so this way I could just grab this, rip whatever I need to. I mean, this is like a really nice size, and it's 12 volts, it's not 9, so it's got the clutch on it. There's 2 torque settings. It's like usually these cheaper tools are kind of junk. This is a really not, like, this to me feels better than the Ryobi. It really does. The chuck is really nice on it. Everything about this, I really like this tool. And the polarity on those batteries, they weren't marked. The PCB wasn't marked. And when I tore it apart, I didn't look at the polarity on the batteries. And when I put it back together, I put it back together wrong, and it wasn't working. And I was freaking out tonight. I was freaking out because it was totally my fault up front. I didn't look at it. And then when I put the chassis back together, the top on the top where the output is, those pins were marked, because I didn't even know what was positive and negative. So once I knew that, I looked at it from the output side of it, and I started backtracking, and I figured out, okay, this has got to be what it is. It's got to be plus here, minus here, and then a plate between the minus and another plus of another battery coming up. So you have plus to minus, minus to plus, coming up to minus, going back to plus, and then down to minus. So you've got your ground is coming out in the bottom over here, and your hot is coming out over here. And that's how I hooked it up, and then it worked. So at this point, like I looked, you can't get that battery. They've got an 8.4 volt battery they sell, but there was one. Like they make an orbital tool, and it has the same battery. There was a guy selling that for $12, but it was $10 shipping, and I was like this close to buying it, just so I could get it from him, take that battery pack apart, and look at the polarity and how it's hooked up. But I don't think I'll need to do that now. I got this one charging. I think everything's going to be okay. Although the charger is freaking me out. It's supposed to be flashing and it's red. And here it says if it's red, it means defective. Oh, Jesus. Oh, I must have just lost connection. So we got to see. We got to see. I know I had tested it earlier. It was 11.39. Yeah, 11.47. I keep running it. I've just got to let this go. It says half-hour charger. It's like, oh boy, 2.2 amp DC lithium ion. So I don't know. I gotta see. If worse comes to worse, I may end up taking that thing apart every time I have to charge the batteries. I think we're going to be good though. I think we're going to be fine because it is taking a charge, and that was just one of those things. When it's fully charged, I'll be a happy boy. And it could be that the milliamp, the batteries that I replaced it with might not be the same milliamp rating, and that might be why the charger's freaking out. It very well may be. The first time that I replaced I put one battery. There was one dead battery in it, and the other two were just low. So I put one battery in it. This LED was on, and then it would like die down, and it would come back on. See, because I'm moving it, it keeps resetting itself. But it would the LED would be on, and then it would go off, on, and then it would go off. It's not doing that. It's just red solid. Which, according to this, it says battery charging is flashing. And battery on red means defective battery. Now these batteries that I got in this thing are good. They're not bad batteries. So I don't know how this charger works, what mode it has. Let's see what it's putting out. It's not putting anything out. When the green light's on, you have to... Yeah. So, I might not be out of the woods with this yet. Until I let it run and overnight or whatever. But it says 30-minute charger, so I don't know. Something might be up. Anyway, I'm trying to think. Yeah. I've been playing Factorio. I've been doing a lot of household stuff, and I'm looking forward to finishing up the the Rev G3 pedal and starting to play some guitar again. I got the incredibly ridiculous, silly spring thing. I've got to finish that, and then we'll be looking at even more fun. So, you guys, thank you for joining me. I'm going to cut you loose. I thought there was one more thing I wanted to tell you guys about. But in the meantime, take care of yourselves, hug your pets, and peace. See? See how I am?